The battle for the fate of humanity ended 100 days ago. Human civilization is crippled after battles with the Tekki, metal beings with a conscious will, for over 1,000 years. And Kunado Chronicles seeks to answer one question. How do you revive human society afterwards? Answer? Through a time traveler. Thanks to Shiribune for providing me a review copy for me to check out. A post-apocalyptic world in which gender roles are reversed and might rules over all. Translation, prepare to get dominated by strong-ass women. Now, I say post-apocalyptic world, but really it just feels like a primitive Edo Japan, where everyone wears a fox mask, the strong are admired, and sacrifice is necessary. For any slight slip-up could lead to their extermination. And so, to ensure their survival against the geometric shapes from hell, they created rather extreme policies. To prevent detection, they willingly curbed their population numbers. The most powerful individuals who could fight were placed at the top of the social hierarchy, and if necessary, they will sacrifice one for the sake of the many. I said earlier that everyone wears a fox mask. This isn't a fashion statement. This is a way to remove any and all emotional attachments towards their fallen comrades. For if someone dies in battle, another will step in to take their place. It is a cruel world, but the country of Kanto doesn't view its way of life as malicious, but one born out of collective necessity. And as a result, any form of individuality is lost because of this monolithic and sure humanity's survival creed. Now enter Shin, the time traveler who's been asked by the fallen hero and the ruler of Kanto to fix this world. Shin's a pretty strange guy, to them at least. He woke up strung upside down after being in cryogenic sleep for who knows how long. Shin's a pretty modern guy by our standards, one with a teasing tongue and a strong liking towards the girls he meets, like the red-blooded boy that he is. He's quite intentionally outspoken about it too, which can tick readers off, but that's besides the point. Most importantly, Shin's a person with a fundamental understanding of how a normal society should work. Kunado Chronicles spends a lot of time in its world building, explaining how the country of Kanto works and seeing how Shin plans to address the problems. And what are these solutions, you might ask? Just some good old modern Japanese values. This results in a lot of comedic scenarios, as the girls are the first to adopt Shin's well-intentioned yet outlandish requests. Jokes aside, the story does talk about these topics seriously too, just not enough as I would personally like. Kunado Chronicles has a lot of material to work with, from the way of life of the common citizen, to the reverse gender role dynamics, to even the value hierarchy between those with and without superpowers. It has enough potential ambition to talk about these topics, but the writing isn't strong enough to explore these issues on a much deeper level beyond a surface level application. It's like expecting to see how increasing society's base intellect will lead to positive economic growth, but instead you're getting learning how to read and write is good. Instead, the focus is brought to how our heroines grow as a result of these radical changes, starting with the common man, or woman. Yuri is a very ordinary woman, a loose representative of the average citizen, and like everybody else in this city, it's her duty to serve her country as seriously as she can. So when Shin, a complete outsider, randomly shows up, there's just gonna be just the slightest bit of tension. Her position in society makes her a great conduit to explore the contrasting power dynamics and the average life of a commoner, because even if she's got exceptional strength as a superpower, there's no outmatching actual lightning and wind gods. How Yuri basically copes with this fact, despite adoring those same people, paves the path for her development and as a compelling character. Hell, even her banter with Shin makes her pretty charming, and that continues into her specific route. Kunado Chronicles operates on a ladder structure where you can branch off into the heroine's routes during the common route. The order goes Yuri, the twins Akane and Aoi, and Haruhime to end it off. Speaking of, next up we got the twins, the Ninokami, the top fighters in Kanto and everyone's favorite little twin sisters. They may be young, eager, and full of energy, but they're always itching for a fight, one more bloodthirsty than the other. They are dedicated to taking out the Tekki, and it's thanks to them you'll be treated to some great action scenes. There are some standout fights in here, but the climax of the twins' common route is the clear highlight thanks to its emotional weight. On the other hand, when the situation isn't in dire circumstances, I'm indifferent to Akane and Aoi's casual and strangely caveman-like nature. Now, I want to point out one very important note. I highly recommend picking up the patch, as the twins' route is not included in the base game if you buy it off of Steam. And finally, we have Haruhime, the current ruler of Kanto, an elegant princess loved by her people, and also a glutton. She is a visionary who seeks to improve her country and asks Shin to help her out. Her ambition is an admirable trait to have as a leader, but she also carries the heaviest burden, despite having the most OP superpower out of everybody, the Kotodama. If you're familiar with the title Amatsutsumi, another visual novel by the same developer as this one, Purple Software, this is the same superpower, the ability to invoke mystical powers into one's words. Amatsutsumi used the kotodama as a manipulative social superpower in a drama romance story, but here we get to see the infinite potential to bend reality, both as a society-changing tool and as a destructive weapon in battle. AKA, it's stupidly broken. Growing crops out of nowhere, controlling people's bodies, changing the various seasons, bending the laws of physics themselves. Of course, Haruhime can do these things, but in no way does it promote progression. Now, while Haruhime does have specific problems of her own, she suffers the most in terms of characterization, simply because her older sister outclasses her way too much. Natsuhime becomes the main focus in her story. After all, why wouldn't we want to know about the most powerful hero in Kanto, who left everything to Haruhime so suddenly? And she's not simply a one-off deal. The girl constantly nags you all throughout the game, despite being dead. Let's just say there's a lot of surprises waiting for you as the story heads towards its final conclusion. Now, if you really think about it, Kunado Chronicles is actually just a fantasy isekai with post-apocalyptic sci-fi elements mixed in, but with all that Purple Software classic eroge vibes. Each one of Shin's ideas of improving Kanto has a direct impact on our heroines, as they're forced to reevaluate their current ways. Their internal issues are loosely connected to how Kanto needs to change. So by resolving that problem and allowing the heroines to grow and fall in love, Kanto also grows as well. A double resolution that helps both the world setting and its romantic development. If you're looking for a Purple Software romance title, one with an emphasis on its world setting, this will be one to check out. 3 out of 5. If you enjoyed this review, I would highly recommend taking a look at Utawaru Mono, one visual novel series with a similar setting and plot premise, but with a JRPG twist in its epic trilogy. I would also like to thank everyone on Patreon for supporting me in covering visual novels. You guys are fantastic, and if you would like to be a part of that effort, please consider subscribing to my Patreon. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you later.